Give me a home where the bison and elk run. Wendy, I can't see anything out here. You said they were going to be right here, Wendy. I don't see anybody.
Why don't you look down, Steve? Put the binoculars
Wendy,
down.
I don't.
Look to your left.
Oh, jeez.
Look down.
Thanks for the heads up. A little bit of heads up next time.
I mean, come on.
Jeez.
The keepers are A+ at this. We don't need binoculars when we're with the keepers.
How's everybody doing today? I'm going to get the Muppet out of my pocket, hold it down a little lower for y'all. Wow! Hey! North Carolina Zoo EDventures, we're open. How exciting! We have guests!
Hi, guest wave!
It's so exciting that we have our guests here again. I hope you guys get to come back soon. Remember though, timed tickets, online reservations. Check out the website, nczoo.org, to find out more about how to come into the park. But we hope you guys are making your plans to do that. We are at the Bison and Elk Habitat at the North Carolina Zoo. These are bison. It is so exciting.
I thought they were buffalo, Steve.
No. They're not buffalo. They're not buffalo. We do have a keeper with us too. We'll go into all these differences later on. So the song isn't quite appropriate. So I had to change it a little bit in my intro. Hope you appreciated the intro. I know you didn't, because I can't sing with a lick.
Wow, look who's behind you.
Whoa, this is Alexis.
Hello.
This is Keeper Alexis. Focus on the keeper. The animal comes later. Check this out. This is Tommy. Tommy, right?
Yes.
Ooh, Tommy was like, I'm not sure about that. We've learned that the camera looks a little bit like a dart gun, we think, to some folks, to some animals. So they're not quite sure what to do sometimes. But we're so excited to be out. We're on the habitat. We're in the truck that the keepers get to come out all the time. So we truly appreciate the fact that we're able to come out and say hi to the bison and the elk. So who's who real quick? Just kind of close by, Alexis.
All right.
Keeper Alexis, by the way. Keeper out here at Northwoods.
So this is Lucy.
So this is
Right
the
here,
big
she's
bison
our
is
big-
Lucy.
Bigger girl. They're all female bison.
Oh.
Straight out back here is Calf.
Calf, nice.
And our two newest additions here are Wiley with the red tag and Annie, who's the smallest.
Oh, neat.
And then our matriarch is No Horn up there on the hill.
She's the boss.
She's the boss.
Because
That's right.
if I'm right, in bison world, they are a herd-dominated animal, and the female dominates the herd.
Correct.
Right,
Yes.
and there's a female, a matriarch, kind of like we learned about elephants. A little bit like elephants?
A lot like that, yes.
Okay, cool. And so she's the dominant female.
And she is the oldest.
Oh, she is? How old is she?
22 years old.
Wow. She's 22.
Yes.
She looks good. All shedding out. Why are they shedding?
It's hot.
It's hot.
For a bison, it's getting warm, and you can see Lucy still has most of her winter coat.
Yeah.
So they have this real thick winter coat that
Sure.
they'll wear.
Yep.
And then Annie's a good example of a full shed. So she's lost all her heavy
And this
winter
is Annie
coat.
here.
Yes. And she's got that nice summer coat on. So they'll all shed like
It's
that.
just a lot thinner. Yeah. And I assume they get that really thick winter coat because they're found like in Yellowstone. They're found out a little bit out west, Midwest. Mm-hmm. I read a really neat thing on these guys. Wendy, can you show a picture of the head?
If someone will face me, there we go.
They use that head like a big snow plow.
Here's a good one.
Oh, right there. Look at that. Alexis set you up.
I know.
And they'll move that head back and forth to move the snow out of the way to get to any grass or anything else underneath. They are herbivores, massive herbivores. The largest terrestrial mammal in North America.
Oh, wow, really?
The largest
I never thought of it
terrestrial
that way.
mammal in North America. A big male can push a ton.
That's really cool. I never thought of them
Right?
that way.
They're just massive beasts. They're gorgeous animals. So big.
So you can kind of see there, that's Calf. She's a little bit more dominant than Lucy, so she kind of pushed her off that pile of hay.
Okay.
So the more dominant animal will, kind of push the other ones around and get what they want, best pick. So
yes, best pick of what's here.
we'll spread it around so everybody gets their fair share.
So we have, just because it's kind of fun, some of our listeners have heard about browse, and we see we have some browse out here. It looks like there's tulip poplar,
Yes. Some
and
sweet gum.
sweet gum. Okay.
Yep, and some chestnut oak.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and then what we feed on a daily basis here is the
itch.
alfalfa and the Timothy hay.
Okay.
And it's not much for all these animals out here because they have such a great habitat to
They
feed
sure
out
do.
of.
Let's show them the habitat, Wendy. It is really cool.
They've got a buffet out here
A
of all sorts
buffet.
of
Well
stuff.
said, Keeper Alexis. That is so neat.
How many acres are out here?
It's about 12 acres, 12 to 13.
And remember, that's 12 to 13 football fields in size, just about. More of our guests here. And then there's the elk. I see one elk with antlers. I see a lot of other elk without antlers. Am I correct in seeing that?
Yes. In total, there are 15 out here.
15 elk?
Correct.
Wow. So that's something you guys look at when you come. Oh, a little playfulness. That was so much fun. And Wendy caught it. Great job, Wendy. So neat. Well, I want to talk about one of the major differences between these guys, and that's the antlers and the horns. Because we have the elk, the bison here with the horns, and we had Tommy for a second.
Yeah.
What does Tommy have on top of his head? Does Tommy have antlers, or does he have horns? That's Tommy over there. He's the elk. So does he have antlers or horns on top of his head? The elk. The antlers? Yeah, those are antlers. So get a good shot. I'm sure Wendy's showing you a really good shot of the antlers, even though he's a little bit further away. He's still pretty close, all things considered. You can really see a good shot of Tommy and his antlers. And then you can see the bison as well with their horns. So let's pick out some differences. The horns are a long, thin piece. Here's another example. This is one that came. This is just one that we have. Somebody gave us this one. It's a real horn, but somebody donated it to us. And this part of it is a sheath, is a keratin-like sheath. So it's kind of like the same thing your fingernails and your hair is made of. But this sheath goes on top of a bony core for a horn. The antler is all bone. The antler is made of all bone. The horn, a keratin sheath over top of that bony core. And it's kind of long and skinny, might twist, might turn a little bit, but it's one piece. There's no spreading out, there's no tines. If you see the antler, remember Tommy's antler has forks or tines in them. So it's a big difference as well. Which ones are shed? Are horns or antlers shed every year? Any hunters out there? I bet you can figure that one out. Are horns or antlers shed? Antlers. Antlers are shed every year. So look at Tommy again. Those wonderful antlers have to be shed and then regrown every year. Every year he's got to grow those out. How about that for a picture? Can I get them side by side-ish for you, Wendy?
A little bit.
So
this,
go ahead.
this was taken in early March when Alexis brought us out here.
See those little nubbies? Those are the antlers beginning to grow. And they're covered in that white, that kind of tannish material. That's called velvet. And it acts kind of like it's almost like a sheath that protects the antler as it's growing. The bone is being laid down inside that sheath. And it's a lot of a blood supply to it.
Is it painful during this time for them when they have the velvet? Is it more sensitive, I should say, not painful?
It's definitely sensitive.
Yeah, if we get a closer look later and you look right at the top where it is growing, it does look almost like, like a new, kind of like a scab healing over. So it does look like it would be sensitive to touch. It's very pink.
Yes.
So I imagine if you did knock it on something, it would be a little bit.
Yeah. I know if it were to get cut, or if they were to be kind of walking through brush and it gets cut, it does bleed profusely. There's a lot of blood supply to it, and that's what's carrying all that bony material, all the calcium and stuff to it. So the difference is, again, the antlers are shed, horns are not. Antlers are branched or tined. Horns are not. Antlers are made of all bone. Horns have that. Actually, this is a great shot. Who's this?
Lucy.
So Lucy's left horn is missing that outer sheath. So you can kind of see that's the bony core, and that's okay. That happens from time to time to animals.
Lucy.
Keeper Alexa's going to see if a Lucy will look at us. And on the right hand, on Lucy's right hand horn, you can see that bony, that keratin sheath is still there. Yeah, Wendy, you got a question?
Yeah, somebody asked if it hurts when they drop their antlers.
Well, I wish I could ask him and he could tell me.
Yep.
But I don't think it's painful. I know he can tell he gets a little uncomfortable because when it's ready to fall off, he'll start rubbing his antlers on the trees and the rocks and things like that. And then once they fall off, he will have a scab for about a day. So I imagine that's probably a little sensitive. But after that, I think he's good. He's tough. So
I saw for the first time, I'm 117,406 years old, approximately. Somebody captured a white-tailed deer losing their antlers on a webcam, on a camera trap. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because they'd already lost one, and they shook their head real hard, and the other one just popped off.
Wow.
So my guess is it's a little, like you said, I think it was a great idea. It might be a little bit of a scab, a little bit of something underneath of it, and then it kind of heals up pretty fast and goes away. Great observations, though. Another name for the elk is the wapiti.
If you'd like, we can drive out a little bit and get amongst them.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can get amongst. Hey, Chris. Yep. We have Keeper Lasher with us, too. Keeper Chris is here. Can we go out amongst the elk? Sure. Go out amongst the wapiti?
Not too far in.
Don't have to go too far in. Let's just see if we can get a little bit closer. The ones without antlers, and that's our last difference, too, by the way, between antlers and horns. Only the males grow the antlers, with one exception, and we'll talk about that. Antlers are only grown by the males. In bison world, obviously we can see it with these 5. The females will also grow horns in many species, but only the males grow the antlers. There's a great shot of Tommy looking at us.
Perfect right in here.
That's good, Chris, right there. Thank you so much, Keeper Chris. Got a question?
Yeah, we did have a question if one of our guests was asking if the elk ever fight.
I'm going to let Keeper Alexis answer that because I have an answer, but I don't know about our guys.
In a sense, yeah. So they have a few different display behaviors that they'll show each other. Now, males in particular, during rut, they will spar.
Yep.
But we only have the one male with antlers, so we will put out enrichment devices. Like you can see, there's a hanging
I'll show that to her.
Right over here in the tree.
See it in the tree, Wendy?
Sometimes we'll hang other antlers and things, so
really?
can go and spar with those.
Oh, fun!
Which is just antler wrestling. There we
nice.
go.
Well said.
The other elk will also display different behaviors to each other. Say there's a delicious pile of food right there and one wants to keep the others away. They'll do things like that. They'll kind of push each other off.
Sure.
They'll grind their teeth and kind of hiss at each other.
Really?
Yeah, and they'll actually...
I didn't know that.
Raise their upper lip and display what's called their canine, which is a tooth, basically. There's a
little example of one. Yeah.
You'll see him kind of do it here.
And I heard the teeth too.
Yeah, it's like a squeaky noise.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So there's a few different noises they'll make, and a noise that they'll do to call each other. It's kind of like a mew.
Okay.
It's like a sound you typically hear a baby do.
Oh, okay.
They'll make that to each other.
Yeah.
I just have to comment, those antlers are gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
The velvet, I've never been this close to a male when they had velvet on their
it's neat.
antlers, and this is amazing to me.
And they're not done growing. No. I'm assuming that, right, Alexa? I mean, I've seen him. He has some pretty good-sized antlers when they're all done growing.
They're very rounded right now, and when the velvet falls off, they'll be very sharp pointed.
Okay.
So they'll grow to a point.
You can kind of see the pink nub on the end, like you were saying.
Yeah.
That make look a little tender.
Yes.
What's the largest size we've seen with him?
They've gotten bigger every year. So this is the largest they have been for him. But the points stay about the same. They grow in roughly the same places every year. They just get larger and larger.
Yeah, okay. And there's a really neat reintroduction story on these guys. These guys were, fancy science word, extirpated. That's a science word. They were eliminated from an area. And the area I'm talking about now is the East. They were eliminated from North Carolina, Kentucky, Virginia, Tennessee, places like that in the 1800s. They were extirpated. They were eliminated from an area. But they were reintroduced in the early 2000s to the Great Smoky Mountains. About 52 animals were reintroduced to see if their population could recover, could come back. And lo and behold, it sure has, which is awesome. So in the Smokies today, you can see about 150, maybe 200 of these guys. But I need to do my typical shout out here to this. Guys, don't get close to them. Observe them with your camera, observe them with your binoculars. Don't get close. They're still wild animals. They're not used to having people around in the Great Smokies. Our guys are coming up. They're used to Keeper Alexis. They're used to Keeper Lasher, Keeper Chris. They're used to the truck.
Yeah, this doesn't happen.
This doesn't happen in the
nature.
Great Smokies.
I'm from out west,
Yep.
and we grew up spending a lot of time in Yellowstone every summer, and
Gotcha,
there is
sure.
a whole list of people who have made a list they don't want to be on,
No.
trying to get close to bison and elk.
No, that's why you
In
have a
the
camera.
wild.
That's why you have a camera. That's the memory you want. You don't want a memory of the hospital bill.
Or the not surviving the encounter.
Little interspecies action going on.
You see
over
Tommy
here.
was kind of bullying them
Chasing
off
them
a little
off?
bit.
Yeah. So this is about as close as the bison and elk will get to each other.
Okay.
They usually, as long as there's enough food, they'll spread out. But when they do get close like that, you can see Tommy's kind of top dog.
He's
When
still
he
the
has
boss.
his antlers, he pushes everybody off.
That's interesting. That is so cool. This is a
This is-
female.
This is Tinkerbell. She's one of our older females, shedding out her winter coat.
So what are the ages of the elk? Is that a fair question to ask you, Alexis?
Yeah. So the youngest is about 3. His name is Goose.
Oh, of course.
And his mom is one of the oldest. They range up to about 18 years old.
Wow, 3 to 18.
Yeah, and Tommy's 9, so he's
Oh, right in the middle. He's right where he should be right now, being the boss and everything else.
Yeah.
Little shout out to the guys answering our questions today. We appreciate you guys being there. I believe it's Rich. I think Corinne's answering some questions. Bob. Beth might be there too. So thanks, guys, for answering questions for us. Again, the North Carolina Zoo is opened. We opened on Monday. We're in a phased situation, though, so do check out the website, nczoo.org, to learn more about that.
Oh,
Did you catch that one?
we got Tommy's legs.
You got that? Well, hey, that'll work. Part of it is what it is. I want to talk a little bit about the Bison Recovery. Some of us have heard this story. The bison that we see, the American bison. Oh, no way. Yeah, got somebody checking out the chimes over there, the kind of the enrichment that the keepers have provided.
Yeah, the elk are very curious.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're prey animals, so they are a little nervous about new things.
Well, as they should be.
But once they get used to something new, they are very curious. And as you can see, they'll go up and kind of nuzzle and check it out and play with it. And they're a lot of fun to watch.
Neat.
We got them on camera playing with your stuffed animal in the truck.
Yes.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Got one coming up. Who's this one right here on the left? Looks like she's shed out a lot of her coat already.
That, I believe, is Catalina.
Okay.
So we tell who's who by the tag numbers.
Oh, can you see the tag, guys?
So that's one of the younger elk. She was born in 2017.
The 9647.
Yeah, and she does look really good.
Okay.
She shed out her
I was
coat.
right there. Okay,
Yeah, so
good.
they have that kind of
never know.
auburn brown color in the summer.
Yeah, so pretty. Again, I'm trying to use the term wapiti sometimes. Wapiti is a Native American word that describes the elk. The term they use for the elk. It talks about white rump, and you can really see that white here. So they get that Native American name from that real obvious visual. But we were talking a little bit about the bison, about the recovery. Even though we're talking about bison, we got to focus on Tommy because he's here.
This is just so cool.
This is very neat. Again, it's one of those things, guys, that we don't get to, at least I don't get to do a lot in education, and we appreciate Keeper Alexis and Keeper Chris showing us out on the habitat today and letting us share this with you guys, our digital guests. They'll hopefully be our real guests soon.
Someone, one of our, Becky commented, I noticed the tags.
Oh, good. Great observation. They've got to be relatively obvious so the keepers can see them through the binoculars. But that bison recovery, can you imagine in the 1700s coming out to the plains of the United States and seeing 30 to 50 million of these guys? Of the bison, now 30 to 50 million of them at one point. But as you guys may know, unfortunately, they were really hammered hard by poaching, by illegal killing, people killing them in massive numbers for so many reasons. Some to eliminate the resources that the Native Americans were using, sometimes for food. The bones were ground up and used in China. Oh, I mean, it's crazy how much the bison were eliminated. Remember the number, 30 to 50 million? Reduced to maybe 1,000 by 1890. So 1700s, let's go on the low end just for fun, 30 million? 1,000 by the 1890s. But then people got wise and they said, you know what? We got to be careful. We're losing them. We don't want to lose this animal, this massive mammal. So they were protected. There was a lot of protections put in place. There were a lot of private groups that started to raise bison. And today, although we're never going to be anywhere near the 30 to 50 million that we had at one point, there are 500,000 in North America, but a lot of those are in managed farms for meat, for other purposes, but at least they're present, at least they're here and accounted for. There's about 30,000 in other herds or on tribal lands, and maybe 5,000 roaming free in Yellowstone and southern Utah, believe it or not. So you'll see a nice little boop snoot there. That was a good one. That was a good shot, Wendy. Thank you. So some amazing stories. There are also, I think one of my favorite stories to tell about the bison especially, and the elk to a certain degree, is they're kind of like farmers. Say, what? What do you mean farmers? Come on, Steve. Yeah. So you see what they're eating, right? They're eating grass and they're eating hay. They're eating leaves. They're eating fruits. They're eating whatever they can find in the wild. And as they roam, they defecate, right? So they're spreading seeds through their feces, through their poop. Are you able to get a shot of the hooves, Wendy? Can I ask you to get a shot of the hooves? Any of the animals is fine. And as they roam, their hooves grind in the seeds, churn up the soil, move the seeds around, kind of plant the seeds as they roam the plains of North America. So they're literally almost like farmers. They're planting seeds, they're tilling up the soil with their hooves, and they're pushing those seeds into the ground. Amazing little story. And something you don't think about with these guys. Another job that they're doing to keep the plains really in good shape. Yeah, I got a question, Wendy.
We had someone ask why Tommy has 2 tags.
Why does Tommy have 2 tags?
I can't give you an exact answer, but I think over the course of the years they've had different types of tags.
Okay.
Could be
This one
different
has
places.
2 tags too.
Yeah, they all have different types as well. They've changed the types of tags. Some of them are button tags like this one, and some of them are the hanging tags.
Yep.
It could be coming from different locations.
I was going to ask if it could be because it came from different locations.
Yeah.
So we might have a tag at the North Carolina Zoo that we want to use, and when they came in from another place, no sense taking the tag out.
Right.
That's cool. God, what a neat experience. Another opportunity for you guys to get our digital guests to get up so close and personal with them. How neat.
The wallow here that Calf is standing in.
Yeah.
Sort of like the ones we saw with rhinos.
Is that the same purpose?
Yep.
Is it really?
Yes. Bison will wallow in the mud to help with the flies and bugs and
Oh, of
things.
course. Okay. Neat.
You can see Lucy's got some on her face, so she must
She
have
sure
been
does.
rubbing in it
She
earlier.
So we don't get to say thanks to everybody out there all the time. We'll miss some folks. But we'll say thanks to Patty and Jacob for tuning in. Carol and Cynthia. Awesome to see you guys. We have Rick often tuning in. Jerry.
It's actually Carol's birthday. Carol's a longtime watcher. It's
No
her birthday
kidding.
today.
Happy birthday, Carol. That's awesome. Jerry's tuning in. Tanya tunes in. Connie. Barbara. All these names that we've seen so often. It's just neat to be able to shout out to you guys. Did I say Tanya? I think I said Tanya. Renee.
Stephanie.
Oh, Stephanie for sure. Giving us a shout out from time to time. Kim. Brooke. Susan. Mary. Nicole. Help me out, Wendy. So many.
I'll shout out.
Yeah,
You have a shout out?
Alexis
Is that okay?
turn,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Alexis has a
Shout
shout out. Absolutely.
I want to say on behalf of the Northwoods team, a shout out to Kelly and Sawyer Niels.
Yeah.
Oh.
Joining us this morning, and to my mom, Evelyn. I hope you're watching.
Oh. God, I love that. That's fantastic.
Oh, we
So,
got to give a shout out to the driver.
who's driving today? Keeper Lasher.
Keeper Lasher.
Thank you, Keeper Lasher. Thanks, Chris. And thank you guys so much for tuning in, being with us so long. I do need to tell you guys something. We're cutting back because we're open. Wendy and I have some other responsibilities going to be kicking up. We're going to be needing to cut back on some of the zoo adventures. You will continue to see us Mondays and Wednesdays. But Fridays, we're not going to be on at 10 o'clock anymore. We're going to miss you guys, but we're here Mondays and Wednesdays, sometimes taped. And when they're taped, we're still answering questions. We're not going to miss you that. We're not going to be gone for you. We're not going to get rid of us that quick.
Can't get rid of us.
But we won't be on Fridays. So I want to make sure we said it out loud to everybody. So if you tune in, you understand what's going on. And we'll try to make an announcement of that too on Friday. But Mondays and Wednesdays at 10 o'clock, your Zoo Adventure team, Wendy and Steve, will still be with you. Want to make sure we said that out loud.
And the reason is because we're open to our guests now. You can come to the park.
Exactly.
So we are. we have to take a little step back.
Yeah, we've got a lot of other things that are going on. At least we hope that things get busy. It'll be phased again. The zoo is open. It is phased opening again. Timed tickets. So get online, get your online reservation in, so you can get your ticket and come to the North Carolina Zoo now that we're open. So check out nczoo.org for more details and more information about being open. But it's exciting to share with you that we are open.
And if you do have kids at home, we do have our virtual summer camp. So
Yep.
I'm sure our friends that are answering questions can throw up a link for us. You can also find it on our website. And
Yep.
you can sign up for virtual camp, and your kids will be experiencing some things sort of like this, but
Yep.
just for them. And a lot of fun things, dance parties, cool biofacts, some experiments, activities.
Yep.
The lineup they have for summer camps is pretty
It's
awesome.
really cool. They're taking you to Africa. They're taking you to North America. They're introducing you to some keepers, telling you what it takes to be a keeper.
Yeah.
So some really cool topics. So again, nczoo.org will help you with that. What an amazing day. You guys had fun with this one? Give us a heart, give us a like, give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed being on the plains. Don't forget, you can click that donation button if you'd like.
We've had a couple people.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so
very
much.
today.
You guys did, yay, put us over the $3,000 mark. So thank you so much for that. We're always going to be looking for more now. It's like, okay, keep on, keep it on. But that's been fantastic. You guys have supported us during that. It was a tough time, and that's not gone yet. So we're cutting back. We're having limited entries as well, so only 2,000 people in the park at this time.
There's a few of our guests over there.
Yeah, we are open. See our guests over there. Yay, guests.
The great thing about being on a 500-acre zoo is there's lots
definitely-
of space to spread out, so you're not worried about being on top of each other while you're here at the park.
Yep. So watch that social distancing when you're here. There is some food provided in a few locations. Nothing indoors yet.
This is really just relaxing and beautiful out
Yeah,
here.
I think I want to do this again.
I really would like just a lawn chair in the back.
Anybody want us? Who wants us to come back to Prairie again and do this? Can you imagine these guys, the bison, the elk, running on their habitats? They're continuously moving. That's one of the other reasons they're great farmers. I mean, you use that term a little loosely. I appreciate that. But remember, they defecate. They're sending out seeds. Their hooves are grinding the seeds into the soil. Their hooves are also tilling up the soil. These guys, the bison can hit speeds of 35 or 40 miles an hour. I didn't see a speed for the elk, but I bet it's similar. Mm-hmm. Alexa says, yep, it's similar. That's cool.
Yeah, these guys are really active early spring and late fall when it's nice and cool. That's their favorite time of year. They're a little more, kind of laying around in the summer in the shade, but
Sure.
We've seen them run around a lot in the fall when it's just starting to snow. They love that.
Oh, that's awesome. Something else. Who out there, who's been to the zoo, who's been to the North Carolina Zoo and heard the elk, the wapiti bugle out here? Who has heard the elk or the wapiti bugle at the North Carolina Zoo? The males make this really amazing high-pitched call, kind of setting up their territories, telling other males who's around. Have you guys heard that before? I love that. That is such a neat thing, and it's happening here at the North Carolina Zoo, and that happens in the fall during breeding season. Really cool. Hello.
Little Annie.
So who was that? Was Annie?
Yeah.
So neat. And everybody's just chilling. Everybody's just relaxing. They got their morning snack. They do seem to get along pretty well. I mean, they kind of stay where they're supposed to, I guess, all things considered. They don't need to hang out together.
Right. As long as they can see one another and they know where they're at.
Okay.
If some of the elk started crossing over the hill, they'd probably all get up and follow. Kind of stick together.
Oh, neat.
As a herd. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Got some wallowing.
There we go.
There you go.
Putting on some bug spray.
Nice.
And our curious elk watching.
What are you doing down there? Do you not realize that's mud and Randolph County, Asheboro red clay you're rolling around
There's
in?
your shovel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shovel head.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
You're going to get dirty.
We did not ask him to do this.
That's a
or her
female.
to do this. That's awesome.
What else do we need to know about your critters?
Who has your your favorite personalities?
Oh, Wendy, you can't ask questions like that
That's
on
a
live
tough one.
television.
I didn't ask who her favorite child was. I know that being a keeper, there's never the right answer for that.
Well, we have a large group out here, so there's lots of different ones. Some that point out in my head, of course, Lucy here. She's a little more willing to come up close, and we can really get a good look at her, and she's a lot of fun. Calf is also one of our internet stars. We had a viral video.
Yeah.
She last spring she did the lovely bison dance.
Yeah.
Where she was running around. But these two new young ones are a lot of fun too. They're so full of energy. You can see they're a lot more interactive.
They are fun.
They've kind of revamped our old girls, gotten them a little more active.
Got them going again a little bit.
There you go.
She's like, well,
That's
maybe that does look
MySpace.
good comfortable in there.
She's nice and orange now.
That's
Our
awesome.
elk are also different. Our older girls are pretty calm and, they kind of just hang out. And then we've got a few young boys that are troublemakers.
Gotcha.
When we do shift them in and out of a barn to feed them some grain, and we have a few that just kind of like to do their own thing and cause a little trouble. So
That's funny.
they make me laugh. It's always fun to have
sure.
those personalities.
Good deal. So reaching up with his tongue over there, that was cute.
But I'm sure
Elk over there.
even with working with them all the time, you always are very cautious because
Yes.
they are still very dangerous.
Yes.
They are a dangerous animal, listed as a dangerous animal here at the zoo.
Yes,
Yep.
we never actually are in any same location with them on the ground. So right now we're up in a truck and we have these railings here to keep us safe, to protect us from them and their antlers and horns.
Sure.
And then in the barn and everything, we're always on the other side of the fence. So
That makes sense. Neat.
You have a very cool craft project. Let's switch positions.
Switching.
We have our craft for the day we did
Where'd
not
you go?
forget.
Oh, you're over here.
Over here, Steve. Over here.
Got a little carried away. How cute is this? There's our bison roaming on the habitat. That's just torn paper, guys. Now, I say just. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that would take me a week.
But it's torn paper, tissue paper, and construction paper. The write-up for the craft is found on our Facebook group page, Adventures in Education. How neat is that? Got a little horn going on, little tail. How's the sound been today, guys? How's the sound been? Hope it's been okay.
You can find also the craft, all the the past crafts, sorry, not future, because we don't know what we're doing yet. Our past crafts on that web page as well, on that Facebook page. You can also find our past experiences,
You sure
our
can.
adventures
That's a great point.
on YouTube, on the NC Zoo YouTube page. You can also find them on our Facebook page. You can scroll down, and as well on that Facebook page that we made as well, the Adventures in Education.
If you haven't seen the red river hog or the Arctic fox, check out the YouTube page. It's because it's very clear on that one. It's a different kind of, we've captured it and saved it on YouTube. If you haven't seen red river hog or Arctic fox, they were pretty cool. There have been some other great ones too, but those were a lot of fun.
I think because they don't usually see them when
Yep.
you're here at the zoo, so it's nice to have basically that private tour again.
Yeah, you got to get that behind the
And
scenes-ish
the keepers
moment.
doing their magic and bringing them forward for us.
Yeah, so many thank yous on those guys. Did Keeper Chris have a shout out today before we leave? Chris, did you have a shout out? You want to say hi to anybody?
Sure, I'll say hi to my mom and my wife, Lisa. Hi, guys.
Did you guys get that, Chris?
Yeah, we
Keeper
got
Chris saying hi to his mom and his wife, Lisa.
His mom always watches. We know. We want to say hi.
Yeah, you need to shout out to us and say hi to us so we can say hi back. All right, guys, team. I think we're going to wrap it up from the Prairie Habitat with you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in on Zoo EDventures. Check it out again. You can see it Mondays and Wednesdays at 10 o'clock moving forward. Next week, we have 2 lives scheduled for you.
Crossing our fingers for
Crossing our
weather.
fingers with weather. Always got to do that. We were a little worried today because if you're in North Carolina, you know it's been pretty wet. But we got to kind of save it. The weather was awesome for us today. Next week, we're going to take you to 2 new habitats. One you've been at before, but for another animal, which is kind of cool. And Wednesday, you have to wait and see. It's just cool. It's
We're not
exciting.
giving you any hints.
Not yet. Maybe on Monday. Maybe on Monday you'll hear from us. So thank you guys so very much. Stay safe. Zoo Adventures, Mondays and Wednesdays at 10 o'clock. Steve and Wendy saying goodbye from the North Carolina Zoo and the Prairie Habitat. Stay safe. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.